You're scrolling through your phone right now, aren't you? Another video, another distraction, another moment slipping through your fingers like sand. You know you should be doing something else, something meaningful, something that matters, but here you are, frozen in the comfortable numbness of modern life. What if I told you that 700 years ago, a poet who walked through the gates of hell itself identified exactly what's wrong with you, with me, with all of us. And not only that, he showed us the way out. This isn't about religion. This is about something far more dangerous. The sin that's eating away at your potential right now. The sin of doing absolutely nothing. Let me take you back to medieval Florence, to a man named Dante Alighieri, exiled from his beloved city, stripped of everything he held dear, wandering through Italy with nothing but his genius and his pen. In his exile, Dante did something extraordinary. He didn't just complain, he didn't just give up. He created one of the most profound works of literature humanity has ever known, the Divine Comedy. But here's what most people miss. Dante wasn't just writing a religious allegory. He was diagnosing the fundamental disease of the human soul, and that disease is still killing us today. In the Inferno, Dante descends through 9 circles of hell, each one reserved for a specific type of sin. But before he even enters hell proper, he encounters something that shakes him to his core. Standing outside the gates, in a space that's neither heaven nor hell, Dante sees a massive crowd of souls, millions of them, running endlessly in circles, chasing a blank banner that means nothing, going nowhere. These are the Ignavi, the ones who did nothing, the neutral ones, the people who never took a side, never made a choice, never committed to anything in their entire lives. They lived without infamy and without praise, and now they exist in a state so pathetic that both heaven and hell reject them. Think about that for a moment. These souls are considered so worthless that even hell doesn't want them. Dante's guide, Virgil, tells him not to speak of them, not even to acknowledge them, because they are unworthy of words. They lived without ever truly living. They existed without ever truly being. And now, their punishment is to chase meaninglessness for eternity, while being stung by wasps and hornets, their blood and tears feeding the worms at their feet. This is Dante's vision of the ultimate degradation, not the active evil of murderers or traitors, but the passive nothingness of those who refused to engage within life itself. Now fast forward to today and look around you. How many people do you know who are living exactly like the Ignavi? They wake up, scroll through social media for an hour, go to jobs they hate but won't quit, come home, binge watch shows they'll forget by next week, scroll some more, and go to bed. Tomorrow they'll do it again. They have opinions about everything, but convictions about nothing. They're upset about injustice, but won't act. They dream of change, but won't move. They're chasing that blank banner, that meaningless promise of comfort and ease, running in circles while their lives drain away. The Ignavi aren't ancient history. They're everywhere. And if we're honest, we recognize them, because sometimes we are them. This is what Dante understood better than almost anyone in history. That neutrality isn't peaceful, it's death. Apathy isn't harmless, it's the most insidious form of self-destruction. When you choose to do nothing, when you choose to remain neutral in the face of your own potential, you're not playing it safe. You're committing a form of spiritual suicide. You're choosing to be unworthy of both the heights of heaven and even the depths of hell. You're choosing to be nothing at all. Let's go deeper into what Dante actually means by this, because it's not just about being lazy or unmotivated. The sin of the Ignavi isn't sloth. That comes later in Dante's journey, in the fourth circle of purgatory. No, this is something more fundamental. The Ignavi never made the choice to be good or evil. They never engaged with the moral fabric of existence. They never said yes or no to life itself. They were presented with the grand question of existence. Will you participate? Will you choose? Will you commit? And they responded with a shrug. They were moral cowards, and Dante reserves a special contempt for moral cowardice. In the Inferno, Dante faints at the story of Paolo and Francesca. He weeps for the souls he encounters. He shows compassion, even for the damned. But for the Ignavi, he shows nothing but disgust. He won't even dignify them with his attention. This tells us something crucial about Dante's moral universe. It's better to choose wrongly and face the consequences than to never choose at all. It's better to descend into hell with conviction than to hover in meaningless limbo forever. At least those in hell made choices. They acted. They were something, even if that something was terrible. The Ignavi were never anything at all. Think about the implications of this for your own life right now. How many decisions are you avoiding? How many choices are you postponing? How many times have you said, "I'll think about it later," or "I'm not sure what I believe," or "I don't want to get involved"? Every time you do this, every time you choose neutrality over engagement, you're joining the ranks of the Ignavi. You're chasing that blank banner. You're running in circles while your life bleeds out beneath you. Dante's cure for this condition isn't complicated, but it's terrifying. You have to choose. You have to act. You have to commit to something, anything, beyond your own comfort and safety. You have to be willing to be wrong, to make mistakes, to stumble and fall, because even in falling, you're moving, you're alive, you're engaged with existence itself. The moment you choose, the moment you act, you step out of that vestibule of the worthless, and you enter the game of life for real. But here's where Dante gets even more profound. The journey through hell isn't just about punishment, it's about understanding. Dante doesn't just tour hell as a spectator, he experiences it viscerally. He feels the pain. He understands the logic of each punishment, and in understanding, he learns. The Inferno is a descent, yes, but it's also an education. Every circle teaches him something about the nature of sin, the nature of choice, and the nature of consequences. By the time he reaches the bottom, he's ready to begin the ascent. This is where Dante's genius truly shines, because the cure for apathy isn't just action for action's sake. It's purposeful engagement with reality. It's looking at yourself honestly, examining your choices, understanding your failures, and then making the deliberate decision to climb upward. The Purgatorio, the second part of Dante's Divine Comedy, is all about this climb. It's about souls who chose wrongly, but are now choosing to purify themselves, to transform, to ascend toward something better. In Purgatory, Dante encounters the slothful on the fourth terrace, and here's the difference. The slothful made a choice to be lazy. They chose insufficient love. They chose not to pursue the good with enough vigor. Their punishment is to run constantly, to never stop moving, to exhaust themselves in the pursuit of the energy they lacked in life. But here's the key. They chose this. They accepted their fault. They're working to correct it. They're not neutral anymore. They're actively engaged in their own salvation. That's the difference between hell and purgatory. That's the difference between damnation and redemption, the willingness to choose and to act on that choice. So, what does this mean for you today? Sitting there with your phone, your comfortable numbness, your carefully maintained neutrality. It means you have a choice to make right now. You can keep scrolling, keep drifting, keep postponing your life until one day you wake up and realize you've become one of the Ignavi, chasing nothing, achieving nothing, being nothing. Or you can close this video after it ends and make one real choice, one genuine commitment, one actual move toward the person you know you could be. Dante's journey doesn't end in hell or even in purgatory. It ends in paradise, in the Paradiso, where he ascends through the spheres of heaven and finally glimpses the divine love that moves the sun and the other stars. But he only gets there because he made the journey. He only gets there because he descended into hell first, because he climbed the mountain of purgatory, because he chose at every step to keep moving, to keep learning, to keep ascending. He didn't stay neutral. He didn't stay comfortable. He committed to the journey, even when it terrified him. Here's what most people don't understand about Dante's Divine Comedy. It's not really about the afterlife, not fundamentally. It's about transformation. It's about the journey from ignorance to wisdom, from sin to virtue, from death to life. Dante begins the story lost in a dark wood, having wandered from the true path, which is exactly where most of us find ourselves. We're lost, we're confused, we've drifted away from whatever truth or purpose we once knew, and we're surrounded by darkness. The question is, what do we do about it? Dante's answer is radical. You descend, you go down into the darkness, you confront it, you look at it honestly, you see sin for what it is, you understand the mechanics of self-destruction, and in understanding it, you gain the power to transcend it. This is why the inferno is necessary. This is why we have to look at our apathy, our neutrality, our nothingness, and call it what it is, a sin. Not in some religious finger-wagging sense, but in the sense that it's a fundamental betrayal of our own potential, a rejection of the gift of existence itself. When Dante looks at the Ignavi, he's looking at the ultimate waste of human potential. These were people who had the same gift you have right now: consciousness, choice, the ability to affect the world, and they squandered it. They played it so safe that they never played at all. They avoided failure so completely that they never achieved success. They protected themselves from pain so thoroughly that they never experienced joy. They chose nothing, and in choosing nothing, they became nothing. The horror of the Ignavi isn't that they're being punished too harshly, it's that their punishment is simply the eternal continuation of how they lived. They ran in circles, chasing nothing in life. Now they run in circles, chasing nothing in death. Their external reality has simply become a perfect reflection of their internal reality. They were always in this hell. They just didn't realize it while they were alive. This is Dante's most terrifying insight, that hell isn't just a place you go after death. It's a state of being you can inhabit right now, today, in this life, through your choices or lack thereof. So, let's talk about the practical cure. Because Dante isn't just diagnosing the problem, he's showing us the way out. The cure begins with recognition. You have to see your apathy for what it is. You have to name it. You have to stop pretending that your neutrality is wisdom, or that your inaction is patience. You have to look in the mirror and admit that you're chasing a blank banner, that you're running in circles, that you're bleeding out your life force while feeding worms. This is harsh, I know. But Dante is harsh because he loves humanity too much to let us sleepwalk through existence. Once you've recognized the problem, the next step is choice. Real choice. Not the fake choices between distractions. Not should I watch this show or that show, but the deep choices about who you want to be and what you want to stand for. What are your values? What matters to you? Enough that you'd be willing to suffer for it. What truth would you defend, even if it cost you? What good would you pursue, even if you failed? These are the choices that matter. These are the choices that make you something rather than nothing. After choice comes action. And this is where most people fail. They recognize their apathy. They make an internal decision to change, and then they wait for the perfect moment to act. Here's the secret. There is no perfect moment. The time is now. The action doesn't have to be huge or dramatic. It just has to be real. It has to be a genuine step forward, a genuine commitment, a genuine engagement with reality. Dante didn't write the Divine Comedy all at once. He wrote it line by line, day by day, in exile, in poverty, in pain. But he wrote it, he acted, he created, he chose to be something rather than nothing. The journey through hell that Dante describes takes us through deeper and deeper circles of sin, each one representing a more serious betrayal of love, of reason, of trust, but all of them, every single one, represents engagement. The lustful loved too much, or wrongly. The gluttons consumed too much. The wrathful cared too much about slights and revenge. The heretics believed the wrong things. The violent acted too aggressively. The fraudulent used their intelligence wrongly. The treacherous betrayed the deepest trusts. All of these are sins, yes, but they're sins of commission. They're the result of choices and actions. They're evidence that someone was alive, was engaged, was something. The only souls Dante completely despises are those who were nothing at all. This brings us to a controversial point that Dante makes implicitly throughout his work. It's better to be flawed and engaged than perfect and neutral. It's better to try and fail than to never try at all. It's better to love wrongly than to never love. It's better to believe something false than to never believe anything. Now, before you misunderstand, Dante isn't celebrating sin. He's celebrating existence, engagement, choice, action. He's saying that the path to virtue runs through the risk of vice, that the only way to become good is to be willing to be wrong first. This is why purgatory exists in Dante's cosmology. Purgatory is for those who chose wrongly, but who are now choosing rightly. It's for those who sinned, but who want to change. It's for those who failed, but who are now willing to climb. The souls in purgatory are in pain. They're being purified through suffering. But they're not hopeless, like the souls in hell. And they're not worthless, like the Ignavi in the vestibule. They're actively becoming better. They're transforming. They're ascending. And the key difference is choice. They've chosen to engage, to act, to climb. When Dante climbs the mountain of purgatory, he's carrying the weight of his own sins, his own failures, his own past neutralities. He's not climbing as a perfect being. He's climbing as a flawed human who has decided to become better. This is the model for all of us. We don't wait until we're perfect to begin the journey. We begin the journey, and we become better through the climbing. The ascent itself is what transforms us. At each terrace of purgatory, Dante encounters souls being purified of specific sins, and in each case, the purification involves doing the opposite of the sin. The proud are bent under heavy stones, learning humility. The envious have their eyes sewn shut, learning to find joy within rather than in comparison. The wrathful walk through acrid smoke, learning to see clearly. The slothful run constantly, learning vigor. The avaricious lie face down in the dirt, learning detachment. The gluttonous starve in sight of food, learning restraint. The lustful burn in purifying fire, learning proper love. In each case, the cure involves active engagement with the opposite of the sin. It involves choice, effort, action. This is Dante's complete cure for apathy and for all sin. You recognize the problem. You choose to change. You act in accordance with that choice. You suffer through the difficulty of transformation, and you emerge purified on the other side. It's not complicated, but it's hard. It requires courage, commitment, and sustained effort. It requires you to be willing to suffer, to be uncomfortable, to face pain. But the alternative is to join the Alighieri forever, chasing nothing, achieving nothing, being nothing. Let me bring this back to your life right now, because this isn't ancient philosophy. This is urgent, practical wisdoms. You know what you're avoiding right now. You know the choices you're not making, the actions you're not taking, the commitments you're not honoring. You know the ways in which you're being neutral, the ways in which you're playing it safe, the ways in which you're chasing that blank banner of comfort and ease while your real life slips away. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Dante's cure demands that you stop right now, today, this moment, and make one real choice. Not a big choice necessarily, but a real one. Choose something you believe in and act on it. Choose something you value and defend it. Choose something you love and pursue it. Choose a direction and start walking. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. You can correct course later. What matters is that you move, that you choose, that you engage, that you refuse to be one of the Alighieri any longer. Here's what will happen if you do this. At first, it will be uncomfortable. You'll face resistance from yourself and from others. You'll doubt your choice. You'll wonder if you should have stayed neutral. This is normal. This is the descent into hell. The confrontation with your own darkness, your own fears, your own weaknesses. Push through it. Keep choosing. Keep acting. Keep engaging. Eventually, you'll find yourself climbing. You'll find yourself in purgatory, working actively on your transformation. This will also be painful, but it's a different kind of pain. It's the pain of growth, of becoming, of ascending towards something better. And if you keep climbing, if you keep choosing, if you keep acting, eventually you'll glimpse paradise. You'll have moments where everything clicks, where you see the purpose behind the suffering, where you feel the love that moves the sun and the other stars. You'll understand that the journey was worth it, that every choice mattered, that every action counted, that you became something beautiful by refusing to remain nothing. Dante wrote the Divine Comedy as an exile, stripped of everything, wandering through Italy with no guarantee of return, no promise of success, no assurance that anyone would ever read his work. He could have given up. He could have chosen neutrality, chosen safety, chosen to stop fighting and just survive. But he didn't. He chose to create, to write, to pour his genius and his pain into one of the greatest works of literature ever produced. He chose to be something rather than nothing. And 700 years later, we're still reading his words, still learning from his wisdom, still being inspired by his example. You have the same choice he had. You can choose neutrality, safety, comfort, apathy, and join the Alighieri in their eternal worthless circle. Or you can choose engagement, commitment, action, growth, and begin your own journey through hell, through purgatory, toward paradise. The journey will be hard, but you're already suffering anyway. Apathy hurts. Meaninglessness hurts. Neutrality hurts. The only question is whether your suffering will be purposeless or transformative, whether your pain will lead nowhere or upward. Dante ends the Paradiso with a vision of divine love, a love so perfect and complete that it encompasses everything, redeems everything, transforms everything. But he only gets there by making the journey, by descending first into the depths of hell, by climbing the mountain of purgatory, by refusing at every step to give up, to give in, to choose nothing. He gets there by being something, by choosing, by acting, by committing to the journey, no matter how difficult. The sin of doing nothing is the worst sin, because it's the sin of refusing the gift of existence itself. You have been given consciousness, choice, the ability to affect the world, the capacity to love and create and grow and transform, and every moment you spend in apathy, in neutrality, in comfortable numbness, is a moment you're throwing that gift away. The Ignavi had the same gift, and they wasted it completely, and now they're unworthy of heaven or hell, unworthy of words, unworthy of acknowledgement. Don't let that be you. Don't waste your gift. Don't chase the blank banner. Don't run in meaningless circles while your life bleeds away. Instead, make the choice right now, today, this moment. Choose something, anything that moves you forward. Choose a belief and live by it. Choose a value and defend it. Choose a dream and pursue it. Choose a person and love them. Choose a cause and serve it. Choose a skill and develop it. Choose a journey and begin it. Just choose. Just act. Just be something rather than nothing. Be willing to be wrong. Be willing to fail. Be willing to suffer. Be willing to climb. Be willing to transform. Be willing to engage with existence fully and completely, even if it costs you everything, because the alternative is to be nothing at all, and nothing is unworthy of heaven, unworthy of hell, unworthy of existence itself. Dante Alighieri, exiled poet, wandering scholar, broken-hearted lover, gave us the cure for modern apathy 700 years ago. Stop doing nothing, start doing something. Descend into your own hell, confront your own darkness, climb your own mountain, purify yourself through action and commitment and choice. Ascend toward your own paradise, whatever that means for you. The journey is everything. The choice is everything. The engagement is everything. Be something. Choose now. Act now. Begin now. Your life is waiting, and the clock is ticking. And every moment you spend chasing that blank banner is a moment you'll never get back. Dante's cure for apathy is simple but terrifying. Live, really live. Choose, really choose. Be, really be. Anything less is a sin against your own potential, your own existence, your own soul. Don't be one of the Ignavi. Don't be nothing. Be something. Be anything. Just be. Choose. Act. Now.